The Porchcast with Brandon and Christian. Brandon and Christian. The Porchcast with Brandon and Christian.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I agree. I'm not crazy about what the Nazis did, but that's what you think.
They had some good ideas.
It's one hot take. Welcome back to the Porchcast. It's a podcast. We're on the porch. That's why we call it the Porchcast. How you doing over there, Christian?
I feel good.
Really? There's this apricot blonde. I don't know if it's like in other parts of the country, but it is it's a little bit sweet, but it's a good beer. It's really good.
I would like to know how much sugar is in it, but I was just thinking about it actually because I thought you might ask me about what I was drinking because you've asked me before.
Yeah.
To start it off, which is a good opener.
Well, and you do usually, interestingly enough, you usually take a sip towards the beginning of the show, kind of to
settle in.
Settle in, yeah. So usually you just draw my attention to it, I think.
I think the drink sets the tone a little bit. We had some shots to start it off. Mm-hmm. I think that was a good idea.
We have waters.
Got some water just in case.
Mm-hmm.
I like the beer, though. I think the tea might be a little bit too mellow. I think that it's good to bring some chill energy to the podcast, but you need to have some energy. And I think with tea, it could be a little too low energy. Christian, than I prefer.
I totally get that. Yeah, because that's a true story behind that one. Yeah, I'm drinking. So the Dry Dock Apricot Blonde from Dry Dock Brewing. It's pretty good beer. I'm drinking the Odell Drum Roll. It's like an APA. It's good. It's like a little hoppy. I'm a fan. Got my water.
A day like this, man, there's nothing better than a wheat blonde, whatever you want to call it, a wit.
Yeah. I mean, we are just experiencing beautiful weather.
Might be the best day of the year so far.
It might be. Yeah, it might be because we've only experienced like hot, and there was some cold. There were some like times in the fall that were nice, or like in the not in the fall, but in like the late winter, like March, April, when it was still kind of cold and dark, but it was nice.
This is the best it's been so far, though, and it would be a crime not to spend a little bit of time outside.
Which we are fortunately doing right now because we are, unlike other podcasts who constrain themselves, honestly. They constrain themselves to these tight rooms with all these smoke and mirrors to make it seem like they're having, genuine banter. But they're not. It's all out of touch.
That's an interesting kind of difference of opinion we have, though.
What do you mean?
I don't consider this outside.
Oh, why do you feel that?
I would say this is kind of like inside and a half, if that makes sense. We're exposed. I could see the sky, but we're still kind of closed in a little bit.
Yeah, but I feel like as soon as I stand up, you can't ask for much more than that to be outside. So what do you think about like if you're at like a restaurant or something and you sit out on the balcony? Or you're like out like over like at a rooftop bar. You're like looking out over shit. Are you outside?
I'm not saying it's all or nothing. Being on a porch is not being outside because I think if the setup was more open, our particular setup, I would feel more outside.
That would be crazy if there was some way to get that done.
Yeah, good thing that we did do that.
Yeah. Quick thank you to our sponsors. Tiki Torches, as always, sponsored us. I think that was it today. Kind of low on the sponsors. So obviously we have the Patreon link in description. We're selling merch now. Oh, we're not even there. What kind of merch do you think we would have? Like what is like if a merch company came to you and they're like, hey, we want to test you out. We're willing to make you anything you want. You get to try a couple for free. What would be like the thing that you would think you'd want to market with? Would it be clothes or?
I think a nice both a bar key and wine key complementary, like nice leather with our logo on it, whatever that may be. And I really like the one that you sent me.
Yeah, that was good.
So
yeah, that was really good.
We could use that moving forward. I don't see why not.
I'm good with that. That was you sent me one of the funniest memes. We're getting a little bit specific, but we got a logo coming, and it's like kind of the mountains, and there's a big sun behind it. And Christian sent the funniest meme. I wish we had video to show it because it's the perfect meme. So what if it was purple? Because your favorite color is purple, right?
Yeah, I mean that's just my instinct, is to make it all purple. You know,
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful color. It's got it's one of the more, like, it's, first of all, you think about the colors that combine it. It's red and blue, right?
Yeah, I think
great colors in and of themselves, and they combine to make this, like, I don't know, like, red and blue are weird colors. Red is anger, blue is sadness. Like, they're, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about purple, dude, and how a color, because they're all just colors. They're all, like, there's nothing special about them. They're all just the way that our eyes perceive things. But there's a reason that you and I both feel strongly that purple is the best one to look at. So,
I didn't know that. I thought...
Oh, yeah. I like blue a lot. I like blue an awful lot. But purple is right up there as one of my favorite colors. Love looking at purple.
Me too. Green's pretty good, too.
What kind of green? Like a forest green or like a lime?
I like a lime.
Mm-hmm. What about like neon green? Have you ever been okay with
I prefer neon brown.
Dude, what? I can't even imagine what neon.
You
brown
don't know
would look
neon
like.
brown?
Explain that to me.
You can't explain colors, man.
That sounds like a philosopher. They're like
neon brown.
Yeah.
Esquire.
Yeah, seriously. He's like, I think the way that we perceive colors, it's like, yeah, dude, that's neon brown. He like understands everything about color. It's like the Noam Chomsky of color.
Oh, you know Noam Chomsky?
Yeah.
You like that Noam Chomsky reference?
Because I made him up. There is no Noam Chomsky. No, Noam Chomsky. He knows words, right?
I should know Noam Chomsky because he's a famous psychologist. Right?
Yeah, I think he knows words and like language. I think that he was like the king of that, of like knowing words and stuff. Weird. I don't know. What is that? Can you think for a living? Is that fair?
Be a philosopher?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of jobs entail.
Thinking?
Yeah, if you're on the theoretical side of mathematics or physics.
So you think it's a science?
Yeah. I mean, even philosophy there's a mathematical component to the thinking.
What would be like the math behind it?
I'm saying it's similar in that you have to be very careful to construct your words and thoughts in a specific way so that you can articulate your idea in the exact specific way that you want to.
So you think that it's beyond just coming up with the idea, which they certainly do, but then the subsequent like communication of that idea is like what makes a philosopher good?
I don't think it's a matter of being good or bad.
A philosopher is somebody that, I mean, I guess the metric with which a philosopher should compare themselves against is how many people are listening to the things they say. Is that what they care about, or do they just care about being able to speak it? You would think that they have to have some kind of expectation that their craft is being well received.
I think that philosophers worth their salt are more concerned with what their peers think of them than just the general public. Because I mean, how involved in philosophy literature is the average person? Probably not at all.
Yeah, that's a good point, Christian, because I get that, but that's still a metric with which philosophers can compare themselves against. So in the philosophy realm, looking at it in a vacuum, what makes a philosopher better within that space, better within that field? What makes Plato Plato?
If their assertions and their claims stand up to reason as it's understood by just mainstream philosophy, or just whoever the deciders are for what is factual.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's everybody probably respects like the Michael Jordans, if you will, the Tom Bradys of philosophy. But everybody probably has like their secondary or tertiary players in sports, or philosophers in philosophy, where it's like, yeah, like of course Plato's great, Socrates is great, but like my real sleeper pick and somebody whose ideas I just really respect.
Oh my goodness, dude. Dude, we're really out here, man.
Yeah, the cars around here are so loud. This guy, he's not like super popular, but I really respect his ideas. There are a lot of guys like that in philosophy as well.
You know Albert Camus? I think that's how you pronounce it.
Mm-mm.
Look him up, because I'm not sure if philosophy was his main expertise.
What do you think he did?
I know what he did that he's most known for is the kind of analogy with which he compared the myth of Sisyphus to the struggle of man.
So I don't know what Sisyphus is.
You do, but you might not know it by that name.
Mm-hmm.
Sisyphus is I think he was just a man that was condemned to push the boulder up a hill,
yeah,
and then back down, and then do that for infinity.
Okay, and so
that was in Albert Camus' assessment a representation of life, in that you're just doing tedious, monotonous things times infinity.
Yeah. I heard an analogy last night, actually, by somebody I used to work with, that was basically like explaining life like a wave, a little bit, which I think is kind of true.
In what way?
There's times, I think it would be more like riding a wave, where there's times where you're kind of on top of it, and there's times where the wave's kind of going over you a little bit.
Well, it's about your outlook. That was kind of the main takeaway from.
So what was his name again? I want to look it up.
Albert Camus. He's a French guy, I think. Camus.
Does The Stranger sound familiar? Maybe? Yeah, The Stranger looks like it's his biggest piece of work. And let's see if he is French. He looks French. And I don't mean that. Yeah, he's French. He was a philosopher, author, and journalist, and he won the Nobel Prize of Literature, the second youngest recipient in history. Okay, so let's see. So his political stance, he was a moralist. Does that sound right?
I'm not an expert on this.
Okay. Existentialism, absurdism, and revolt.
Absurdism. That's what I'm referring to as it relates to the myth of Sisyphus.
And how do you spell Sisyphus? Do you know?
Sisyphus.
Oh, yeah. No, that's right here. Yeah, he's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the myth of Sisyphus. Yep. His major work on the subject. Yeah, so I'm reading it now. Absurd themes were expressed with more sophistication in the second collection. He follows the definition of absurd, that which is meaningless. The man's existence is absurd because his contingency finds no external justification. The absurd is created because man, who is placed in an unintelligent universe, realizes that human values are not founded on an external component. Even though absurdity is inescapable, he does not drift towards nihilism.
Yeah, and that's why if someone asked me, it's not a religion, but it's a viewpoint toward the world. It's a world philosophy. That's probably where my mindset is most aligned, is absurdism. But it's not a conventional way of describing the world. So, yeah, if I had to really just describe how I looked at the world, it'd be like that. And and just to try to relate it back, we did some Eric Andre jokes before this, but that's very much what the Eric Andre show is based on as well. And
exactly.
I think absurd, and I know that you feel the same way. Absurd humor, I find that's probably my favorite brand of humor.
So you're saying, I want to say this quote really quick, and then I want to go into absurd humor. Suicide is an option that Camus, you said is his name?
I think it'd be pronounced like Camus, but
so suicide is an option that Camus firmly dismisses as the renunciation of human values and freedom. Rather, he proposes to your point, we accept that absurdity is a part of our lives and we live with it. I like that.
There's nothing else you can do, and I think that, as far as I can tell, it makes a ton of sense. And it's not about the tedium, the monotony, or the absurdity of what you're doing. It's about how you look at it.
Exactly.
And we can also relate this to another subject which you wanted to talk about, which I don't know if you want to get into right now. But
well, I want to hear about the absurd humor first.
Absurd humor? Yeah. What about it?
Okay, so what I was going to ask is absurd humor, is Whitest Kids You Know, which is a sketch comedy show that was on IFC several years back, is that, and was it on anything other than IFC?
Well, it was on Fuse first.
Yeah,
and
it was
then
on Fuse
IFC.
first. That's exactly right. Thank you.
So, now that we're on the subject, though, I feel like all humor, in a sense, is based on absurdity because it's trying to take what is and make it, or point out what is absurd about it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know?
Yeah, of course. No, that's a great point.
That's what observational humor
is. Yeah, if you think of like a Louis C.K., a lot of the time he is talking about how weird everything is. Everything's so weird in Louis C.K.'s sketches.
Yeah, human behavior, human customs.
Mm-hmm. The things we do, the people that he comes across. Yeah.
I think that's what comedians do, is just hold a mirror to society, people's faces, and just point out the absurdity and hilarity and what we're doing, or yeah.
But then again, I think that there is like a realm specifically, I agree that all comedy is a little bit absurd, but then there's a realm.
But then there's real absurd. Then there's your Eric Andre show, your... trying to think, because even before that there was the Tom Green, which is I'm not sure if you're familiar. He's a kind of prototype of a lot of that type of humor, like your Eric Andre's.
Do you think that John Benjamin Has a Van was that absurd enough? Is Nathan For You absurd?
I wouldn't call Nathan For You
so
much absurd, but I think that Nathan For You is very much, it's pointing out kind of I'm trying to think of how to word it, but it's a examination of human behavior.
Right.
A very specific examination of human behavior under bizarre circumstances.
Right.
That is, for certain people such as us, we find it hilarious, and a lot of other people too. Yeah. Such a great show, which if you haven't heard it and you're listening to this, then, or if you haven't watched it, then I would recommend it.
Yeah, honestly, as soon as you finish this podcast, rev up Hulu or the Comedy Central app, Chromecast that shit to your TV, and watch an episode or two of Nathan For You.
I would say it's one of the great shows of our generation.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible what they did. They've won some awards, I think. It's an incredible show. What they've done is incredible. I don't think they'll do any more. I think that's it. Probably. It's probably a little too big at this point. It'd be really tough. Season 4 almost is probably a little tough. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Watch Nathan For You for sure. What were you gonna say you wanted to get into? One of the other subjects. Oh, okay. So yeah,
just grinding in video games, just doing repetitive things over and over again.
Yeah. So, and we both do that. We both play video games that there are tasks. There are chores. You can walk away from a game or from a day of playing this video game and be like, all right, got shit done today. Got shit done. Fucking productive ass day. I sat here. I got all this stuff. I gained all these levels, and I'm feeling good about the day I had. Isn't that crazy? What the fuck? Honestly, like saying it out loud hurts.
But that's the thing. That's why it fascinates me, is because it's another philosophical debate, or just situation where you can look at something and say, why should I find value in this and not this? Or why should I find meaning in this and not this?
Right.
I mean, there are certain things. I think it's about having a balance. And I mean, you could say that about pretty much everything, but you shouldn't be playing game all day, every day. And I think we've both had, I know I can say that, but you've probably had times where we're probably spending more time in the game than you should be.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But if you could have that balance and say, you know what, I'm doing good in my job, doing good at this, blah, 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 and I enjoy playing this game, and I'm getting satisfaction out of it, and I'm getting meaning out of it, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Then I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and I like to be a little more active than that. Like if I can watch TV for a while, but not like during the day. Definitely not during the day. Like on the weekend or something. I can't really read, but playing video games feels active to me.
Yeah, it's an active activity. It's not like watching, like you said, watching TV where you're just turning your mind off, because with the game you have to be engaged and just participating in whatever is going on, and you can kind of shut your mind off in a certain way. And I know that I can speak for myself, but when you're playing a game that involves a high level of concentration, you kind of get lost in it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's enjoyable.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like I'll tell you, so I think that I'm also like one of those people that, not 100%, but you know when people say like I have to be doing something, like I have to be doing something, like I have to be productive, I have to get shit done. I'm kind of like that. I'm very ambitious and motivated, so inside I'm definitely like that. But I am so goddamn lazy, bro. I'm so lazy. Like,
what do you mean?
Oh, dude, if I could fucking 7 days a week just fucking hang out, sit on the couch, I wouldn't give a fuck, dude. If I could do that and I was making money the same amount that I'm making now, oh my god, dude, I could do it.
I don't know. I think you would get really bored really
I would start
fast.
doing shit, but I would be making the same amount of money that I'm making now, so I could just do shit during the day. I could go to the fucking zoo. Just go to the zoo. Like, I could do whatever I wanted to. If I just, like, could fucking chill all the time. I would love to not do anything. If I, like, sold something and made a bunch of money.
You think so? My point being, and you've already stated, but you would find stuff to do. You find stuff to work on. The way you said it kind of made it seem like you're like, I would just lay down and not do anything.
I would do that for the first several weeks.
Do that for a little bit. You've had a couple of those days, not weeks, obviously. But you had a couple of days where you're like, I'm just gonna lay down today.
Yeah. No, I had a day. I mean, last podcast, I think. I think that was episode 6. I think that the day of episode 6, I literally, and I told people this at work. I was open about it. I think I got on that couch at like 8 a.m. and I don't think I left it until like 11 p.m. I think I was just there the whole time, pretty much. And it was amazing. I think it was maybe it was Labor Day weekend. I'm not 100% sure. It was spectacular. It was so relaxing. So if I could do that for weeks, I would work out still. But other than that,
something's got to give eventually, though.
I think that I've talked to my dad about this before, and one of the first things that I would do is I would probably want to volunteer at like a dog pound. You know what I mean? Just help out there. Probably
sounds better in your head, though.
Yeah, I mean, you have to clean shit, I'm sure. It probably does sound better in your head, and it probably just fucking becomes work.
But if you don't have, if there's no work, you need that balance. Then there's no relaxation.
There's nothing to cut. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to look forward to. You need to have something that's
true, man.
I wouldn't say unpleasant necessarily, but something that's a challenge that you can be like, all right, well, when this is done, then
Yeah, but you're like me. You like to reward yourself because I love giving myself little gifts for like things I do and give myself little goodies. Like, yeah, dude, have that cupcake. You earned it. You did that good thing. Or fucking drink a beer and play video games for a few hours. You earned it. Like that. There's that celebration at the end of the day. 100%.
oh, totally. Dude, I hate to be this way, but you want to pause it?
No, it's a loud noise, but I wanna maintain the integrity of the Porchcast, but I feel like we're talking about absurdity, so I wanna move off of absurdity for a little bit and like leave it alone and talk about this BuzzFeed quiz really quick.
All right, we're doing BuzzFeed.
Yeah, let's do a BuzzFeed quiz really quick, and I think you're gonna like this one a lot. I think it's actually gonna be more challenging than you think it would be, and so the title of this is "Sorry, Only Millennials Can Get 11 out of 12 on This Difficult Nickelodeon Trivia Quiz." It's going to be tough. We're going to start off pretty easy, actually. So I think that this one, if anything, if you miss this one, you don't even deserve to go to the second question. And it is multiple choice. In the adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, what is the name of the TV show character that Sheen idolizes? Is it A, Megalon, B, Robo Fiend, C, Ultra Lord, or
It's
D?
Ultra Lord.
Mm-hmm. D is Vibrating Lad, which might be better. This is Ultra Lord. To date, how many Rugrats feature films have been released?
I know there was the one where they went somewhere in Asia, right? I'm not sure.
Paris.
Paris?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Rugrats in Paris.
I would say that there's definitely that one,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe they did one more.
So there's I don't know the answers to this, so we're taking this together. There's the Rugrats Meet the Wild Thornberrys. That's the only movie I can think of, but does that count as a Rugrats feature film? And is there one other one that we're not thinking of? Is there an All Grown Up episode that we're not thinking of? Or an All Grown Up movie? You remember that shit?
I do remember All Grown Ups. I'm not sure if they did a movie for that, so I can't say with confidence.
I think I'm comfortable with 2. What do you think?
I would say 2.
Three. Wow.
So they're telling you the answers right after?
Yeah, so I'll need to look that up. I need to find out what those are. Okay. In Danny Phantom, what is the parallel universe in which ghosts reside called? Ghost Portal, Ghost Sector, Ghost World, or Ghost Zone?
Ghost Zone, right?
Correct. In Hey Arnold, this is a tough one, dude. I saw this one. In Hey Arnold, what school do the children attend?
PS 119?
No.
118?
It might be. I think that you're right, but it's PS 116, PS 118, PS 181, and PS 218.
It's 118.
Yeah. It's a good one. They could have put some more tougher ones in there. In Cat Dog, what is Winslow's favorite catchphrase? Ah, here it goes. Did I do that? I heard that. And what are you, nuts?
That's actually tough. I don't remember.
So all here it goes is definitely
Keenan and Kel.
Yeah, definitely Keenan and Kel. Did I do that is Urkel from Family Matters. I don't know who I heard that is, and what are you nuts sounds right.
I think it's What Are You Nuts?
Between the two, yeah. What are you nuts?
This is a nightmare.
You should get this one. In Invader Zim, what is the name of Zim's home planet?
Irk.
IRK?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eek, Gur, Irk, and Oof. Dude, this one... Okay, so I saw this one this morning, and I couldn't believe how hard it looked. In Rocket Power, what is Twister's real first name?
Maurice.
Wow, dude. That's good. Gilbert, Lars, Samuel, which I knew it wasn't Lars, I knew it wasn't Samuel, and it probably wasn't Gilbert. So I probably could have picked it at the end of the day, but still tough. Okay. In The Angry Beavers, what is the name of the town that the beavers reside near?
I don't know
Oh,
that
sorry.
off the top of my head.
Far, far away, far from home, middle of nowhere, or way out of town?
I don't know.
I haven't watched a ton of this show. I'm going to say middle of nowhere. No, it is Way Out of Town. Interesting. Okay. This is a tough one. And as told by Ginger, what is Ginger's first boyfriend's name? Darren, Ian, Orion, and Sasha. Sasha sounds right, honestly.
Sasha?
Wrong. It is Darren, I guess. Wow. Okay. Last one. In the Wild Thornberrys, what famous musician provides the voice of Donnie, who's the little boy, the son?
It's Flea, right?
Nice, dude. That's crazy. You knew that?
It's just buried deep in there somewhere.
That's crazy. You just saw it once.
Yeah, you know how my mind is like kind of screwed up like that, right?
Because I don't even know who the fuck Flea is.
we talked about Flea.
I hate that, dude. So I'm willing to say it on air. I'm willing to say it on air. The Red Hot Chili Peppers suck dick. Their music sucks, and everybody fucking knows it. They have to. There's no way that somebody listens to that shit and they're like, this is so good.
Give me that Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Give me that Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're like, dude, every time Red Hot Chili Peppers is in town, I see them. Fuck. No way. I would rather throw up every day than go to a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert.
Really?
For the rest of my life. Every day for the rest of my life. That's my preference. No, I'm just kidding. But they do suck. Dick. You like them?
Got him. No, I know we've already discussed this, but I can't think of the Red Hot Chili Peppers without thinking about how much a friend of mine hates them. So
yeah,
and when a friend of mine hates something or someone, it's my obligation to hate that thing or person too.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I know that there's people that you hate that I hate them on your behalf.
You want to know who I hate?
Who?
So, I helped run a roller hockey team in college. It was like the FSU team. So we went to Florida State and I helped run the roller hockey team there. And so we were living in Tallahassee and we were playing at this rink. And the rink sucked and the people that owned it were mean. The people that had run the team before me had really mismanaged the relationship. So we were on thin ice, just as it was. It was roller hockey. That's funny. We were on thin ice when I came in. And I fucking hated these people, dude. So I didn't do us any favors. I wasn't nice to these people. I didn't like them. And so one day at practice, I was playing goalie and a puck kind of deflects up and it hits one of the lights up in the ceiling. And the light shatters, dude. And glass goes everywhere. There's glass everywhere. It's bad. And they're probably pretty expensive lights. And we don't have a lot of money. We're college kids on a team. Like, we don't really have a ton of money to be dealing with this shit. So we made a mistake, but we swept the glass under like the DJ podium where like the DJ stands. We felt like we just swept under all the glass under there. Nobody would notice. They called me the next fucking day early in the morning. They're like,
why didn't you just clean it up?
I don't know.
Correctly.
I don't know. There was, you're talking about 10 college dudes playing hockey. Like, we weren't thinking like that. We were just playing hockey. We were hanging out, and we just wanted to get back to playing hockey. We just wanted to get it over with. We didn't think it through. We made a stupid decision. We're stupid college kids. I don't stand by our decision by any means. We made the worst possible decision. That was the last thing we should have done, but we did it. And so I get a call first thing in the morning from these people, and they're like, yeah, dude, like, you broke the light, and you left glass everywhere, and kids come here all the time. Like, what were you thinking? That was the stupidest thing you ever did. So we got kicked out. Never to return. And I fucking hate those people. And one day, if I ever get really rich, my first stupid purchase is to build a kick-ass fucking roller hockey rink in Tallahassee. Like, kick fucking ass. Like, millions of dollars, and build it right fucking next door. Just cause fuck you guys, and your rink sucks, and I don't want anybody to ever come here for any reason. Our rink's awesome. We have 3 rinks. It's fucking beautiful. Everything's free.
What do you think that you deserved, if anything?
I deserved a little bit more because I was 19 and a sophomore in college and trying to run a fucking team. And like obviously I was trying to be responsible, but like I like there's this dynamic that's really, really difficult to work with when you're running college students, and you have to be cool. Like you have to be like you're running shit, so you're like kind of the boss at certain times, but you have to be cool when shit gets tough. So you can't be like, you guys just fucked up. You just, like if somebody starts sweeping it under and everybody's like laughing while you're. But
there's a way to say that. We say, all right.
It's tough. It's hard. It's hard, and I hadn't been leading for very long. I had only been president for a couple months. If that had happened senior year, it would have been a no-brainer. We would have figured it out. We would have called them at the time. Like we all would have called them. The whole executive board would have called them together. We would have been on a conference call with them.
Just straight.
We were young. I hadn't been running a team for very long. I wanted to be the cool president. Like I didn't know how to handle things like that. I was too young. And I expressed that sentiment to them, that I was young and that I had been running this. I just took over this team because everybody else quit. Like I don't know what you expect from me. I'm trying my hardest. I got money issues with the team. Like we got all this shit to pay for. And I pleaded with them. I was like, please, like this is our rink. Like we have tournaments to play in. We already spent $4,000 as a team to get into these tournaments. Like we need to practice, and they weren't having it. They said no.
So you think you're a vindictive person?
Dude, only for those motherfuckers. I don't think I have a revenge plot for anybody else in the world except for them. But I'm wasting my money on those fucking people. At some point, somehow.
But there's no one else that... You don't necessarily have a revenge plot, but if some bad stuff happened to them, you wouldn't really care.
Of course. Probably everybody else.
You might be a little bit happy.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Because I gotta.
Several names come right to mind. I'll do it myself if I can. There was like a purge. I'm just kidding. That would suck if somebody that everybody knew that I hated died tonight. It's like, fuck. I shouldn't have said that right then. But nobody's going to listen to this anyways. Roasted. So, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're gonna stir up a little bit of controversy. We've had we realized the other day we were having a quick chat about something. We realized that we disagreed, and we cut the conversation pretty much immediately to talk about it here with you guys tonight. So we're gonna have a heated fucking debate because this fucking idiot that's sitting across from me is so fucking wrong, and he's about to get his ass handed to him in a fucking game of debate.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Porchcast. Welcome back. We call this segment, I got a bone to pick with you, mister, part 2. All right. So quick story time for you. I used to work on the newspaper in high school, and an incident happened where a student at our school hung a Confederate flag from his trunk. He was like a white pickup. We grew up in Florida to clear up why this is occurring. White pickup. Big Confederate flag hanging out the back, and our principal told him he had to take it out, and he couldn't bring it to school anymore. It had to be off his car. And so we heard about that, and being like a journalism student, I would say, we ran with that as a huge freedom of speech violation. We didn't even care. We didn't care. We knew what we were doing. We knew what we were getting ourselves into, but it was a freedom of speech violation. It was just a bad precedent to be set because, yes, it's this now. It's this now, and everybody agrees that this should be taken down. But that's a lot of power to tell me how I can decorate my car in my life. I don't like that. That's a freedom of speech violation. It has nothing to do with the school. Yeah, they're on school property, but it's my property. I don't know. You can look at it either way. There's a lot to think about. But we didn't like that. And so we wrote an article on the matter. And we also looped in this man who erected a humongous Confederate flag right on the freeway. I mean, it is humongous. It's the size of a wall, and it's right on the side of a busy highway. People see it all the time. It's a huge flag. If you live in Tampa, you know about this Confederate flag. You've seen it several times. It's huge. And if you don't think that you've seen it, you would know it when you saw it. So it's this huge flag. So we interviewed the guy who erected that, who owns the property, kind of just in this same space of how are you doing that? You're not even allowed to do it in a school. You can just do it on the side of the goddamn freeway, apparently. So we talked to him about that, and we looped that in. We wrote this article called Rebel Without a Flag. And for some reason, me and Christian got talking about the Confederate flag the other day. I don't know why. And we realized that we had a disagreement about the what occurred. So I want to just go ahead and put out my opinion that I think that they should both be allowed to fly their Confederate flag, but I do not agree necessarily with the action, although I don't think that the Confederate flag is specifically a racist symbol, but it does have racist connotations, and a lot of people think of racism when they think of the Confederate flag, but a lot of people in Florida think about it as in their ancestry and their heritage of being Florida natives and being part of that group of Confederates, and so there is some Confederate pride there, and they're not. There's genuinely not racism behind it. That's my opinion on the matter. That's my opening statement.
All right. Well, just while we're just thinking about everything, I'm not sure how much we disagree about everything, because I think we agree much more on the subject than we disagree.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what even, and I know you're not sure either, what really started the whole thing, but I'll just give my opinion on the whole thing. I feel like I'm a very strong proponent of the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. I think people should be
all parts.
Yeah, I love it. I think people should be able to say whatever they want to say, and I think people should, if they want to put the flag up, that's their right to do so. I think where we kind of differ is that I feel that freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. And I think that when people put these symbols out there, that they shouldn't be surprised what comes back to them. That's all. I'm not saying that what the consequences that happen to them as a result of their actions are deserved. I'm not saying that people are right to do this or that. I'm just saying you shouldn't be surprised when it comes back to you. And I'll be honest, I don't like Confederate flags, and I would assume that I don't like people that like Confederate flags or hang them up. And I think Richard Spencer is a good example. You're familiar? That guy sucker punched him in the head. Mm-hmm. As far as I'm concerned, the guy that sucker punched him, they can throw him in jail. They can lock him in jail and throw away the key. And Richard Spencer, if he hit his head on the ground and, you know what, like if he was in a vegetative state, if he died, I think that nothing of value would have been lost on both sides.
Right.
I think nothing of value would have been lost.
And Richard Spencer is a racist?
He's a white supremacist.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents. And you know what? As far as my point being, if you are a racist degenerate and you want to have the Confederate flag, I think that you should at least own up to who you are and what you believe in. And the Confederate flag is a symbol of Southern heritage and Southern pride, the same way that a swastika is a symbol of whatever it was before. You know, the Hindu symbol of peace and love.
Was it really?
Yeah. That it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a symbol of Southern heritage and Southern pride, the same way that a swastika is the symbol of that. In that it's not. And everyone knows that. It's a symbol of racism and divisive bigotry, and everyone knows it, except the people that put it up and say that it's not what it is. And I don't like someone that's a racist scumbag, but I don't like someone that's a racist scumbag and trying to be sneaky about it.
Right.
That adds another layer of degeneracy to it that I find repulsive. So just, if you're a racist piece of trash, just own up to it. Say you are, because I'll respect you
Just the
infinitesimal. No, I'll respect you an infinitesimal amount more than if you say that it's for your heritage. And I feel that very strongly.
So let me say one thing. You mentioned that you wouldn't like people that fly the Confederate flag. I interviewed the kid that flew the Confederate flag from his truck, and that kid fucking sucks. I hate that kid too.
Of course he does, because you know what it is I would assume that it is out of some deep-seated issue. He needs attention, whether it's positive or negative, and he knows that if he puts this up, he's going to get some attention. And of course, it's all going to be negative.
Yeah, dude,
but that's what he needs.
Front page of the goddamn newspaper.
And he's not getting it. He's not getting it at home. And you know what? I guarantee you, he's not getting it from girls either. No, and I guarantee you that, because all these, dude, the straight pride guys, the Confederate flag waving guys, they're not getting laid.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever.
Yeah. What is that?
It is what it is, man. And I'm saying it's not my fault. I'm sorry, and I feel bad for them. But you know what? I'm just telling it like it is. And I thought they liked that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They like it. Am I getting through to you here?
Yeah, no, I agree. They do love a guy who tells it like it is.
They love someone who tells it like it is.
Guys.
I'm telling it like it is. And you know what? There's no one here to really stand up for themselves, and maybe that's the shortcoming of this this format. But if you think I'm wrong, I feel like you're a very a tough critic of the things I say. But if you think I'm off base, tell me.
No, you've changed my mind, Dad. Honestly.
All right, so case closed. Or what?
No, not case closed. Not case closed because, okay. Let me talk about where I agree with you. You definitely can deserve your consequences. We see it all the time in like professional sports where an athlete does something and it ruins their career and they have trouble getting a job again. Colin Kaepernick, he's the example of it. He did the knee. He took the knee during the national anthem, and he maybe hasn't played a game of football since. That's not exactly what happened, but he cannot get onto a roster, and nobody wants the fucking guy. He's a locker room cancer. Nobody wants him. He's too much. I don't want that drama. I don't want to be the team that picks up Colin Kaepernick. He's done. Blacklisted from the NFL. But what he did was a freedom of speech protest that took a lot of guts. And that sucks how much he got punished. So while we can talk all we want about freedom of speech when you're doing something shitty and getting shitty consequences, it's kind of fucked up when there's freedom of speech where you do good things and you get shitty consequences. That seems like you get punished for freedom of speech no matter what. And that undermines freedom of speech for me. So because of that, I have to be supportive of some kind of a lack of consequences for either, and to a certain extent. And then we need to allow freedom of speech on both sides, because otherwise we punish from both sides. I would love to reward from the good side and punish from the bad side, but unfortunately that's not how the world's been working lately. And I think that sucks for Colin Kaepernick, that he stood up for what he believed in when he has a platform and wanted to utilize it, and he got castrated for it. It was a distraction for the NFL, but at the end of the day, I think unless he's a really shitty football player, which he could be, he won a Super Bowl, but he could be, or at least he went to a Super Bowl. I don't know if he won the game. It kind of sucks. So that's my only counter argument.
Could you articulate your counter argument in a few words? Because you said a lot.
Yeah, I did say a lot. My only concern is that freedom of speech tends to get punished on the good side or the bad side. Martin Luther King is another great example of somebody who got punished for speaking out against something. So if you punish anybody that you disagree with all the time, then people are getting punished for speaking out all the time because half the people disagree with them and half the people agree with them. So while you and I disagree with the Confederate flag, I'd still would have loved for them to allow it to fly, just like I would love for my beliefs to be spouted off in their own ways.
Of course, and I would just go back to my original point. Actually, no. I would say that I would call it a false equivalency.
Interesting. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. Explain why.
Because Martin Luther King and Colin Kaepernick, they're both using their voice to speak up for the disenfranchised. And I guess you could say that about the Confederate sympathizers.
They think they're
I'm sure they think that, but if you look at civil rights, I mean, Jim Crow laws, there's no Jim Crow laws for Confederate sympathizers. There's no evidence that there's a system of corruption as it relates to policing and the judicial system against white people. You can make that case for black people. I think there's a very strong case there. And I think that's just what at least Colin Kaepernick was trying to say, and I know that Martin Luther King Jr. was trying to.
But that's my point. That's the point of view that you agree with. But there's another point of view out there. There's probably people out there just like you stand behind Colin Kaepernick and Martin Luther King's beliefs. There's probably people out there that see that Confederate flag on the highway and see that Confederate flag flying out the back of a truck, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, normalize the Confederate flag because it's not a racist symbol. It is a symbol of our heritage."
I think okay, and I can accept that they think that, but I would say that there's a point where you just need to move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You need to move on. You weren't in the Confederate Army. Your parents weren't in the Confederate Army. Where is this pride coming from? Really? They're a traitorous sect that tried to, or a treasonous portion of our country that was trying to maintain their ability to enslave other people.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all. That's all they were. And you have a sense of pride in that. When you're not in that group, your parents weren't in that group. I just don't get it. Where is it coming from? Where is it coming from, if not the need to stir the pot, get a rise out of people?
Think, okay, maybe it's not your parents, but your grandparents and your great-grandparents, if you met them. I mean, just think about it. You're out at picnics, dude, with these people, and you're out at picnics and you're eating snacks, and they're like, black people are a smog across our country, dude, and it's like, you know, how do you resist? How do you resist those folks? No, you're right. You're right. I can't disagree with you, because it does seem like different things. I don't think it's a false equivalency necessarily, although I do definitely admit that what Colin Kaepernick and Martin Luther King are saying is way more beneficial and makes more sense to the greater masses than what Confederate sympathizers say. I don't think many people would disagree with that. But I think that there's also just two sides of the censorship coin, and that's all I'm worried about, is that I don't want there to be any censorship, and it felt like censorship a little bit.
That's fair. And there definitely is. I think it's overstated, but I think there is a portion of the left that is determined to censor views that they don't agree with. But there's a portion of everyone that wants to censor the views of people they don't agree with.
Yeah, you're right. So I heard something interesting the other day, moving on right along, because I think that...
Are we going to call it?
I think we can call it... I think we can call it a draw. Maybe you won a little bit.
I don't think it was... I didn't go into it thinking it was a debate. I think that it's just something that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, because I still don't have my mind made up on the Confederate flag or that article. I mean, I have my mind made up on the article. I love the article. It's my favorite article I ever wrote. I love the article. just from what we did as like 17-year-olds, thought it was interesting for us to just go for it and be like, yeah, let's write this story that could be controversial, and that they let us. I interviewed the principal about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. She went on record about the matter. That's pretty cool. So I think she knew what she was doing too, is that she was giving us a really cool experience as journalists. She did not agree. She thought it was wrong to fly the Confederate flag. And she said that on record. But I read something interesting the other day, or I heard something interesting, and I want to hear what your opinion about it is. And I agree with the statement as well, that the LGBT community has ignited change and reform faster than anybody has before. Like, they've caused such a dramatic shift in culture across the world, in acceptance and equality. Not that they are accepted and equal, but more progress in a shorter time frame than any civil rights movement in the past.
Probably. I think that if you were looking for a reason why that is, you could probably say that equal rights for LGBT people is more palatable in general. I guess at least during the time that it's coming about right now. Yeah. And also just with the internet, it's going to be easier to organize it's going to be more easy to organize any group, because think about how big of an achievement that was for the massive protests and marches and all that, to organize all that in the 60s with no internet.
Yeah, of course.
The amount of work that must take, we can't even conceive it because we just have no perspective. That's interesting. These days, you just need to make a Facebook group, and next thing you know, there's 6 million people going to Area 51
in a week. Yeah. It's a good point, dude.
All you need is a meme.
All you need is a fucking meme. And the gays have their memes, for sure.
The gays.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Case closed.
Yeah, case closed. I know, but I agree with it. I think I agree with it. It's impressive stuff. We're more open and welcoming to them. I think we're still a little confused at times, but
the trans thing is going to take a while.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking about. That's I think a hard pill to swallow. How do you feel about it? Like when you, God, this is kind of controversial, but I do want to kind of open it up a little bit, because I know how I feel. If you see a transgender person that's clearly transgender in public, what is your reaction?
I think to that, and also just the subject of transgender people in general, is that I just feel so bad, because I feel like that's one of the worst hands that you could be dealt. Yeah. And the amount of mental illness, I'm not saying transgenderism is a mental illness, I'm saying depression, anxiety, and the risk of suicide in that group of people, that I just feel so bad for them. And I can't even imagine how challenging it must be to be in that predicament, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Because from my perspective, I'm like, even if I felt 100% like I was in the wrong body, the wrong gender, I feel like I would just stay the same just to spare myself the trouble of it, you know?
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Dude, 100%. And that's why I think similarly to you, but just I have a slightly different outlook on it. When I see people that are transgender in public, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah for that person. Rock on and be yourself, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't fucking be myself if I were you.
Well, maybe the need to do that is just that strong. I mean, it must be.
Yeah.
You know?
So here's an interesting one. We had at my last job, we had a poker tournament, and there was this guy Paul that worked at our office. And we had our poker tournament that night. And when when we were at the poker tournament, he had full women's clothing on, and he introduced himself as a different name. I don't remember the name, but it was a women's
Polly.
name. I don't remember for sure, but that would have been good. That could be a boy's name too. And he fucking owned it. It was insane. There was like our bosses, like everybody was there. Everybody that we worked with.
That's a lot because
charity. It was a charity poker tournament for somebody we worked with daughter. So everybody from work was there.
That's a lot. That's almost like a little bit selfish, you know?
You think he tried to make it about him?
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
No, but I will tell you what, I didn't come away from it like that. He wasn't trying to attract attention. He was just there trying to be himself. I really genuinely feel that way. And I was at his table, so I was with him the whole time. Or I was with her the whole time. I don't know. I guess I don't understand. My only part that I can't wrap my head around is why she wouldn't feel comfortable coming to work, but would feel comfortable going to a work social event.
Should have just asked.
We weren't friends like that.
You should have just been like, "What's up? What's going on?"
Yeah, and
What's the scoop?
If we're going with she, which I would. It's up to Paul. I don't know. I didn't ask him about it, so I don't know what his pronoun is. I wish I did, because I would use that one. But if she, there was one time she wore nail polish to work, which I almost would do on like a couple fingers. That doesn't really bother me. Like I sometimes think about like painting a couple fingers black just for the fucking fuck of it. Does it look kind of nice? Like it's just kind of cool. I don't give a fuck. What do you think? Would you ever dye or put a fingernail polish on? You used to, didn't you?
I have before, but I'm not compelled to do anything like that.
You don't want to draw attention to yourself.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Is just the older that I get, the more my desire to just fly under the radar increases.
Right.
Just want t-shirt, pants. I don't believe in accessories.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Do you think I like accessories?
I don't care what you do. I don't care if you like them or not.
Okay.
That was a stupid question.
Yeah, you're right.
Do I think you like? I don't know. Do you?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. You're right.
You're right. You just derailed the.
Yeah, Well, I did it. Yeah, I did it. You could have just fucking humored me and said, "Yeah."
I have an obligation to call you out, and I would hope that it's mutual.
I'm about to call out of this podcast. I'm about to call out. You're gonna do it by yourself. Who's gonna?
That's fine.
Who are you gonna talk to then? Just you. Who's gonna respond? Who's gonna change their mind because of the smart things he said? Probably nobody.
What's next?
Apple came out with all their new shit yesterday.
Tim Apple.
Yeah, dude, Timmy boy. Timmy boy was on stage, dude. Do you think it would be like mean or like naughty if he wore a black turtleneck and jeans, which is what Steve Jobs used to wear to like every presentation?
In what way? Would that be naughty? If Tim Apple did that? That'd be kind of funny.
It would be kind of funny. Well, I mean, Steve Jobs is a fucking moron. I hope he knows that. He killed himself.
Oh,
he didn't kill himself. Sorry. Let me rephrase that.
He killed himself with his stupid decisions.
His stupidity. Yeah. Which maybe he did kill himself. Who knows? That'd be a crazy way to kill yourself. But
yeah, I'm not an expert on the subject of Steve Jobs.
He just got cancer and he tried to drink juice.
Can't blame the guy for trying.
Yeah, the juice didn't work. But the juice did do 9/11. Wow, dude, I didn't even mean to bring that up. What? It was on our list.
Was it? I did not approve.
Yeah, you didn't approve, but I am
did
curious.
not approve.
Do you remember it at all?
I really don't. And I feel like if I did say that I remembered it in any particular way, it would be a lie because I have pretty much no memory of it.
Yeah, I have very little memory of it. I remember coming home. I came home at the normal time, but I remember everybody was like leaving school, but they didn't tell us what happened. But everybody was leaving school, and I remember getting home and seeing some video footage and thinking it was a fucking super cool movie, and that's it. That's the extent of it. I don't even know if my mom told me necessarily. I think that like I kind of put two and two together over the next couple of days. That probably was the incident, and that wasn't a movie. But I didn't really know either. You don't remember it at all?
Not really.
Interesting. Yeah, it was weird. It's interesting thinking of people who were like 16 or even in college. Like thinking about something big like that happening in college. Like our big thing like that would be like the election was pretty big in terms of like national news.
In terms of 9/11ing.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of the terrorists winning and just plotting an attack on our country.
I feel like the mass shootings are pretty common. I mean, it's not to
Yeah.
the same degree, but it's a much more insidious kind of terrorism where you can look at the faces of Osama and his peers, whatever you want to call them, and say, like, these are the faces of evil, but these mass shooting people could be anybody, dude. I mean, it's usually some dorky white kid, but
Yeah.
that could be us. I hope not. I'm too cheap to buy a gun.
Yeah, it seems expensive. And all those rounds. Because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all out. No, so I have a friend on Facebook who's a teacher. And, he's a freshman teacher. Like, he teaches freshmen in college, so, like, 18-year-olds. So they were in 2001, they were, like, being born. Some of them weren't being born. You know what I mean? So that's crazy in and of itself. So he taught them about 9/11 on 9/11, which was 2 days ago from the recording of this podcast. It's Friday the 13th. 2 days ago, he taught them about it. They learned about it. But for them, terrorism is so normal. It's so normalized that it wasn't shocking footage, really. I mean, it's crazy seeing the planes and like this different way of doing it, but it didn't have the impact that it had on people in 2001 because it's just fucking, for them, they're 18. That's just business as usual. We've been doing this for like probably 10 years. If you think of like Sandy Hook igniting the chain of several.
I wouldn't say that'd be the... I think that...
Or Columbine.
Yeah, I think that would be if you wanted to point a finger at an incident. At least that brand of terrorism of just young white guys that want to make a statement.
Yeah, and Columbine was earlier than 9/11, but there was no frequency behind Columbine. At least open frequency, like frequency that the public is tuned into. You know what I mean?
No.
So like Columbine happened and was the first one, but they weren't happening a year before Columbine and 6 months after Columbine. It was just kind of like, as far as I know, in terms of mass shootings and these kind of instances, at the most, and these are just guesses, a few years Columbine, a few years something. But now it's kind of like Sandy Hook, a few months, Aurora, a few months, a few years, El Paso, or wherever, in Texas. Like, FSU, and then they're popping up everywhere, little ones, but the big ones even, there's a ton of them. It seems like that would make it terrorism pretty normal to me if I was in their shoes. So if I saw 9/11 footage, it would be crazy and sad, but not as crazy and sad as it was in 2001.
Oh, yeah, it's just a matter of perspective, because, I mean, Pearl Harbor is like
good
9/11 before there was 9/11.
Yeah.
And that's just a historical event to us. And I think that 9/11 will be regarded the same way.
That's a great
It
point.
will just be regarded the same way. It's just a historical event. And there's no emotional attachment to it if you weren't around at the time.
So do you think that the Japanese think of Hiroshima the same way?
Not sure. I don't know what.
I would love to find that out. I don't know anybody that lives in Japan or anybody that would know that, but I'm sure that they must, right? They must look at that as a horrific incident. We bombed the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, they, like, leveled 2 cities. That's
That's
monumental levels of destruction. You can't even. I think that people can't even, just having a conversation about it, conceive that level of destruction, death. I've never seen anything like that.
I've never seen anything like that.
a bomb go off, nuclear bomb.
I mean, the Holocaust was a lot of death. They killed a lot of people, and that's like insane. Record setting, hopefully. But I don't know how many people Hiroshima killed, if any, or
Tens
harmed.
of thousands.
Really?
Yeah, my point being, I just don't know how much you can conceive of something really. 'Cause, I mean, you could say this many people died, but
What does that even mean?
what does that mean to you?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, it's like we talk about so many different quantities. I think over time, that it's hard to always quantify it. So you think of like millions of dollars and hundreds of dollars and a number of beers that I'm going to drink tonight too. It's like all these different magnitudes that it's sometimes hard to even wrap your head around. Magnitudes the likes of which you've never seen in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So with a number like that, it's just hard to even wrap your head around.
It just means as much as it means to you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to relate it to. It's hard for people to relate to something if it doesn't affect them personally, I think. So.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, of course. Always. But that's just with the nature of experience. I mean, and understanding how things go.
Do you want to? We've been on some morbid porch casts.
You want to brighten it up a little bit?
Yeah, and then maybe close it out.
Yeah. What do you want to brighten it? Do you have anything to sprinkle on top of the porch cast to brighten it up a little bit? Give it a little bit of a pop.
You actually scared me.
There's like I can see the syphogram or something. They call it something.
A syphogram?
Is
that what you're going with?
That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm locking it in. I'm locking it in. Final answer. Styphogram. What is it?
What are you even talking about?
They're the like you can see. Basically, it's exactly this where you can see the lines go up.
Sound waves?
Mm-hmm, the sound waves. There's a name for it. I don't remember what it's called. But I could see it. And it was this huge spike.
I didn't really have a lot of ideas. We wanted to do the thing where we did some investigative journalism on the crooked.
Yep. Yeah.
We're not even gonna go there.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler or teaser. Teaser.
I want to look into that. We still have that. We still have musical book reports.
Musical. I had one other idea. So if you were on a new diet and you were eating poutine a lot, would you call it a poutine routine?
What's teen?
What?
What's teen?
What do you mean?
Because I already eat a ton of poo, so I don't know what adding teens to my diet is going to do. Okay, so I'm eating a bunch of poutine.
Yes, it's like your poutine routine.
My poutine routine would be to... I don't know. Are you asking like what I would put on my poutine?
No, I just wanted to say poutine routine.
Mm-hmm.
That was all. I didn't really think it. I was determined not to say that on the Porchcast, but here we are.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm probably gonna join the blue team.
The what?
The blue team.
Blue team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the blue team's poutine routine.
They're it's like the Red Bull.
Yeah. Oh, he's so gross. Do you like Red Bull now? Like, do you think you've drank too much of it in your days?
What are you talking about? I haven't had Red Bull since.
Yeah, I know. But you drank it a shit ton then. There was a phase of your life where you were drinking Red Bull all the time. So I'm wondering what your...
Dude, you are smearing me right now to my face. That is so false.
That's not false, dude.
When did I drink
I was
a lot
there.
of Red Bull? When
you were working at Recess.
I drink it a lot for someone who never drinks it.
What, one a day?
I would drink it occasionally there. And I would have small amounts.
I don't think that's true, dude. I know it's your life, and I was not there. I was decidedly not present, so I'm only going.
You're overstating it. You made it seem like, dude, you had a fridge full of Red Bull at the house. No, dude.
I would suffice it to say that you were drinking 2 a week.
No, you're way off, and you gotta believe me.
So put it at a weekly number. How many a week were you drinking?
I would say less than 1/2 of one Red Bull a week.
Oh, dude, I don't believe that for a second, bro.
Really? Why not?
There's no way we're that far off. Because I remember you drinking a lot of Red Bull. I remember you telling me about how much Red Bull you would drink. I remember that.
Oh, no. I'm going to get fired.
Why?
Because you're making me sound like a criminal right now.
This is slander you're suggesting.
No, dude, you're way off base. You're saying it like so matter of fact. Like you were. Like
I'm
you
not saying it matter
evidence.
of fact. I'm saying it that I know our conversations. I think it's true. I think you might have had a problem back then, and I don't think you remember it that way. Here it comes.
When something's like readily available, it's nice, but I don't think I've ever purchased a Red Bull in my life.
Okay, yeah.
Other than that one time when we were playing Fortnite.
So let me admit, I used to work at Sonic Drive-In. I've never eaten so many maraschino cherries. I would eat 10 a day at least. I would just fucking go to town on maraschino cherries. I would hop back, have a couple French fries. It's just right there. I would take a little scoop of ice cream, put it in a little cup, and take a couple bites.
You're partying.
I was partying all the time. So I'm not. If I have a coffee machine at work right now, and I fucking use that shit all the time.
My point being, I drank some Red Bull at work. But, dude, you are making it sound like I was on an IV drip with it, dude. I wasn't.
It doesn't matter because for all I'm saying is for Red Bull, it seemed like a lot at the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that stuff's poison.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
It's a butterfly. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to suggest that you love Red Bull. Just that.
Don't get me wrong. I mean,
choice.
it's designed to taste good.
You think? It tastes like battery acid, I imagine.
No, I think it tastes good. I mean,
Really?
it's a sweet. I'm not really into like sweet drinks, but as far as sweet drinks go, I think it tastes good.
Have you drank any of those other energy drinks like Monster, Rockstar?
Oh man, it's like panic attacks in a can.
Yeah, seriously, it really is. I think that's like what they were going for.
What they marketed as.
Yeah, they're like, how can we, dude? You know what we really missed out on? At least I did. You might have had one, but I kind of missed it. Just a little bit. I wasn't really drinking like in the middle of high school, and in the middle of high school was like the peak of God, what are Four Locos, the original Four Locos, dude. So I never had an original Four Loko. Yeah,
dude, I hated alcohol as a like young teenager.
Yeah.
Like I just did not get the appeal at all.
Really?
I hated the taste of it. And I was just so disgusting. I didn't get it. It's just something that I don't think I ever really got. I drank a time or two before, but that I didn't think I ever really got drunk and had a good time until like our freshman year of college when we drank together.
Yeah, you and I mean, we didn't hang out as much in high school as we've hung out in the years around high school. But I know when you and I hung out, we didn't drink.
When was
And-
the first time you got drunk?
That's a good question. I was definitely drunk for prom. I definitely got probably sometime around like this girl I was dating in senior year of high school, and
But I'm saying like good and drunk. You're having a good time.
yeah, college.
Okay, that's what I'm saying because I definitely drank a few times before, but I never actually had fun with it. I was always just
Exactly.
like I didn't want to drink in the first place, and then I like threw up or something.
But what I was gonna ask is that like I wasn't really around. I didn't really like hang out with people that drank all that much.
Yeah,
Were you?
no, not really.
Okay.
And it was never, even if I was, it wasn't like a peer pressure type thing because I just wasn't into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like, cause like we hung out a lot in high school, but we didn't hang out with each other's. We weren't in the same.
We had different friend groups. Yeah.
So we would spend time together, but I didn't really know what you were doing when you were hanging out with everybody else. So you didn't drink really?
No.
Interesting. I don't think I knew that. I think I thought you drank more.
Really?
Yeah, cause like our mutual friends drank. I think. Like-
Yeah, I just didn't see the fun in it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it all that much. And I don't know really when I turned the corner because even freshman year, I didn't love it.
I mean, once
I
you
did it because I had to.
in college.
Freshman year,
Yeah.
fall freshman year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's everywhere at that point.
That's what I'm
like,
saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You had to.
Yeah.
like it like that was in college. I don't feel it at all today, but in college, that was the only time where if I didn't have plans and I wasn't doing anything on Saturday night, I would feel so fucking anxious, dude. I would
Well, you have to be doing something.
you have to be doing fucking something
Because what are you doing freshman year of college? Just sitting at home.
in your dorm.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did that one time.
Yeah, you can't do that. You have to at least go to somebody else's dorm. And sit there. Like you can't just sit in your own dorm, or have people over to your dorm. Like you just gotta have people over. Yeah, freshman year you gotta get doing shit. That's why you do it because you're stuck in this goddamn torture chamber with this
Closet.
asshole.
Well, you had a nice dorm, so you can't really talk.
I had a nice dorm. I wasn't crazy about my roommate, but you had a terrible.
Oh my god, dude, that's the whole Porchcast right there.
Yeah, you had a crazy roommate, man. I can't even think about that. I mean, but you had a great, but only for half the year, and then the second half of the year, you had a sick ass roommate.
Yeah, no regrets as far as that goes. I mean, I try not to say, oh, I wish I did this or that. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. All right.
We're about to pee our pants out here.
Really? Oh my God.
I see you squirming around.
No, I actually don't have to pee at all. You have to pee.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like, what do you think is like a good dissertation for like modern America? I'm just kidding, dude. I'm gonna let this guy pee. This has been the Porchcast. Thank you to Tiki Torches. Thank you to you for
Thank you
for
to
listening.
nobody.
Thank you to nobody. As always, stay classy and stay bold.
And zip zap.